Is dropshipping dead? If you're just getting started in e-commerce, you're probably wondering whether you should dive into dropshipping or take a leap of faith and build a real brand. In this video, I'm gonna reveal how to get your brand its first $1 million in sales. Before we get there, it's crucial that you understand the difference between dropshipping and building a brand. The path you take can determine whether you're riding an emotional roller coaster of short-term cash or building a sustainable business that can be sold for a significant exit. I'm Ryan, and I built my brand True Earth to 8 figures in revenue in less than a year, and I've helped others do the same. Stick around, because after we break down these differences, I'm gonna give you the exact roadmap to get your brand to its first $1 million in sales. Choosing between dropshipping and building a brand isn't just a matter of preference. It's about setting yourself up for success or potentially missing out on a huge opportunity. Think of it like this. Dropshipping's kind of like renting a small booth at a market. You're there to make quick sales, but you don't own the space, so there's no long-term security. Building a brand, on the other hand, is kind of like building a storefront on Main Street. It takes more effort and investment, but once it's set up, it becomes a valuable asset that could set you up for life. Let's break down exactly what that means across the most important aspects, from profit margins to customer loyalty, and let's see how each path stacks up. There's 16 core differences that I'm gonna outline here. I'm gonna be pretty brief about this so we can jump to the meat and potatoes of this video. So difference number 1, barrier to entry. With dropshipping, there is very low barrier to entry. If you're using something off the shelf or a product that is white labeled, somebody else can come along, find your supplier, and get the exact same thing and start selling the exact same product. With a brand, typically, there's gonna be a higher barrier to entry. What I mean by that is, like, if you're not using something that's directly off the shelf, if it's something custom, if you're talking a supplement and you're mixing proprietary ingredients, or you have something patented, it's gonna be a higher barrier to entry for your competitors specifically. The second thing is profit margins. So typically when you're drop shipping, you're only ordering 1 or 2 or 10 at any given time, or it's small volume. Unless you have a relationship with the person manufacturing the product, typically your profit margins are going to be smaller. Smaller profit margins means you can spend less on ads, which means, potentially less net profit for you at the end of the day. When you own the product and you're ordering higher quantities, you get economies of scale. So they're going to give you a better price if you order 10,000 units versus 10. The third thing is, when you're drop shipping, you're going to have limited control over the product quality. You're going to have limited control over shipping, especially if you're shipping from China. You have no idea. You're at the mercy of so many different things. The customer experience is generally not going to be super great. When you have all of this stuff in-house and you're working with a quality 3PL, or you're shipping it yourself, you're going to have much better control over all these experiences. You're going to be able to either put your product in one central spot wherever you're selling, or you can distribute it across multiple 3PLs. The fourth thing is differentiation. With a dropship product, especially if it's from AliExpress, it's super easy for somebody else to come along and just sell the exact same thing. If you're not rebranding it, even, they can just literally steal your ads, which is illegal, but they can just copy your ads and use the exact same creative to make sales with the same product. Fifth thing is focus. Dropshipping is generally focused on short-term profits. You're trying to maximize the amount of money that you can make from an individual product in the fastest time frame period before competitors come in and start selling it as well. With a brand, there's long-term success. You're not just trying to sell through Facebook ads or TikTok ads. You are definitely trying to sell on those platforms, but part of it's also building brand awareness, so that when customers eventually see your product on a third-party marketplace like Amazon, or on TikTok shops, or potentially in retail, they will be aware enough of your product that they might consider buying it in a different channel. The sixth difference is model, and I keep saying this thing over and over again. Dropshipping is an arbitrage model. The goal is to sell the product for more money than what you paid for it, and what you paid for the ads, and what you pay to ship it. With a brand, you're building enterprise value, you're building brand equity, you're trying to get people to buy into the narrative around your brand, so that when you eventually launch future products, they'll be ready to buy, and they'll put their hand up saying, hey, I like this other thing, I want to get this too. The seventh thing is scaling. With dropshipping, when you're scaling, what you're doing is you're adding new products, and you're adding, well, obviously more creative, But once you tap out a product, you have to move on to the next thing. With a brand, every touch point builds on that brand equity. Every customer builds potential for new customers and word of mouth. And every ad drives up your enterprise value. The eighth thing is customer loyalty. In most cases with dropshipping, there is almost no opportunity for customer loyalty because generally the experience isn't very good. They get an unbranded product. It usually takes a while for it to arrive. There's not a lot of customer service. And as a result, they don't buy from you again in the future. Number 9 is branding. Dropshipping brands typically use very, very heavy direct response marketing, which direct response isn't a bad thing, but they leverage every tactic in the book. A lot of them aren't even FTC compliant. Their goal is to manipulate the consumer into making a purchase at the cheapest price possible so they can make the most money on that first sale. Brands still often use direct response as well, but they're not leaning into it and making it feel like a bad experience to the consumer. The 11th thing is enterprise value. Really, dropshipping doesn't have any long-term enterprise value. We are here for the short-term windfalls of cash, and that's it. When a product dries up, we move on to the next one. When you're building a brand, you're looking to have long-term vision. There's significant enterprise value if you do things properly over a long period of time. There are plenty of people out there looking to buy businesses, and if you can demonstrate growth over an extended period of time, you're going to get a much higher multiple when you eventually decide to sell the business. And that leads to number 12, and that's exit strategy. Dropshipping doesn't really have one. Building a brand gives you an opportunity to eventually sell to somebody, whether it's strategic or whether it's somebody that's just wanting to get into a type of business that you're into. As long as you can provide growth over time and demonstrate that you're making money, there's going to be somebody who will come along and buy your company at some multiple of EBITDA or discretionary earnings. Number 13 is a moat. Dropshipping has next to nothing. Somebody else can come along and take the exact same product and do the exact same thing with next to no effort, especially if they're experienced. With the brand, even if you have a white labeled product, you can be consistent with your branding over time. You can add in things like your values and your missions and get people to buy into exactly what your brand stands for, which will help build customer loyalty, which will make it really easy to make more sales in the future when you produce more unique products. Number 14 is word of mouth advertising. There's not going to be any word of mouth advertising if you're dropshipping. People aren't going to go and talk about your product at parties, or they might talk about the product, but they're not going to talk about your brand because the focus has been so much on the product that even if somebody goes and mentions it, they're going to say what it does and they're going to go and Google it and they're going to find one of 100 other knockoffs either on Amazon or on another Shopify site. When you build a brand, you're going to have much better chance to get word of mouth. For instance, with True Earth, I used to go to events. People locally here are very aware of this brand, and they would come up to me and tell me about how they're giving it away to everybody to try it out and how they're talking about it at parties, which is crazy because it's laundry detergent. Word of mouth advertising is free advertising, which is extending the reach of your ads to incrementally add new customers without you spending any more money. Number 15 is cheaper acquisition for future products. Again, since you don't have any brand loyalty with dropshipping, every time you release another product, it is going to be a whole new experience for the people that you're advertising to. With a brand, people are going to be like, well, hey, you know what? I love True Earth's laundry detergent. Maybe I should try their new fabric softener that just came out. If it's as good as this, I know I'm going to love it. And then acquiring those customers becomes much cheaper because you can get them through email or SMS or even advertising on Meta to existing customers or something like direct mail. There's so many ways that you can acquire new customers for your new products at a considerably lower rate based on your brand equity. And number 16, which is the final difference that I'm going to talk about here because this is kind of getting a little long, is retail. If you really want to grow this business more than $1 million, more than $10 million, and you want to get to 50 or 100 million, you're never going to get your drop shipped product in a retail location. And when you have a brand and you build brand equity over time, it makes it a lot easier to build all the information around your brand, put your ad in front of the buyers, and get your product listed in retail. Getting listed in retail is now going to make it much easier for you to make money by being distributed in multiple channels and not relying strictly on Facebook ads, TikTok ads, or Amazon. It frees you from the shackles of the D2C media buying space. As you can see, the choice between dropshipping and building a brand has a massive impact on your business's potential. But here's the thing. If you're going to build a brand, you're going to need a roadmap to get to that first $1 million in sales. And that is exactly what we're diving into next. Now that you understand the differences between drop shipping and building a brand, let's talk about how to actually get to the first $1 million in sales. So this is the hybrid approach to building your first brand. First thing that you're going to need when you're building a brand is you're going to need a product. Find a product in a trending space. Once you've figured out the niche and roughly what the product is, you can go and look at if it's a supplement. There's a ton of different white label supplement companies that can manufacture a product based on your specifications. The next step is dry testing demand. A dry test is setting up a Shopify store or a landing page that basically sells the product, but kind of like a quick e-commerce site. Step 3 is going to be order the minimum order quantity from your manufacturer. So minimum order quantity often goes by MOQ. You're going to order those. You're probably just going to bring them to your house unless you're experienced and have an existing third-party logistics company, which is like a shipping company. Because this is your first $1 million in e-commerce, chances are you don't already have those relationships established. So we're going to just order it to our house. We're probably using Shopify, print the shipping labels at our house. And once we get a little more established, we'll be able to get that off our plate. The fourth step is now we want to prove product market fit. If you're not familiar with what product market fit is, it's basically trying to figure out the exact customer avatar who is buying our product and exactly what benefits they specifically need that we need to put into the product so that we can sell the product to that demographic at scale. So we're going to use Facebook ads to test this over time. While we're doing this, we really want to dig into who these people are. So when we make sales, we want to make sure that we survey our customers and really dig into who they are, write down every attribute possible so that we're able to really dial this in, because the messaging and the people we serve are going to be some of our strongest weapons in getting to that first $1 million. Step number 5 is going to be finding a 3PL. That's a third-party logistics partner. That's going to take the load off you having to ship yourself. So getting your time back plus saving money is just a win-win as far as I'm concerned. Number 6 is going to be making sure that you got customer service set up. So chances are it's probably you in the beginning, or you and your boyfriend or girlfriend or dog, whoever it is. But one of the key things that I did, especially when we were building True Earth, is you're going to get a lot of people leaving comments on your ads and with questions and maybe objections, documenting all of those things while you're answering their questions, but trying to keep track of the most common things that people ask. Number 7, once we've got product market fit and all these other things in place, we want to start building out our brand story. So like I said, it's going to take probably until about $1 million in revenue before you really nail your product market fit. Some people get lucky and they nail it right away, but plan to have this evolve. So once you've got a pretty decent idea, I'd highly recommend digging into the book Story Brand. It's fantastic. It goes through all of the different components of building a story brand, but that's going to give you like this living, breathing document about your brand so that when you're producing creatives in the future, everything ties into this one set of core messaging and these core beliefs and attacking this one villain. And it really sets your brand to be the tool, or your product is the tool the consumer uses to destroy the villain. And your brand is like the Yoda speaking to them so that they can destroy Darth Vader. Next thing, which is number 8, is build out your email flows, your email automations. These are great ways to indoctrinate your customers after with automatic emails talking about your brand story. It's going to give you an opportunity to upsell them to additional things. It's going to give you the opportunity to sell more to the customer in the future if they subscribe to a product when it runs out. The average brand probably generates about 30% of their revenue just from email. All right, the next one, which is number 9, is make sure you build out your organic assets. You got to make sure that you have the Facebook page, the TikTok page, the Instagram page. You don't need to post on them every day. You want to make sure that you do post frequently enough that if somebody comes to look into you afterwards, that they know that you're not just like, you didn't just set this page up 3 weeks ago and you're trying to sell them something. People have ways to sniff out whether something's real or not. Number 10, we're making sales. We're going to want to capture the existing demand, specifically in Google search and Google shopping. Remember, we're trying to build a pie, and if there's other brands already playing in this pie, we want to capture some of the demand that they've already created by bidding on those keywords. Number 11 is you're going to want to start focusing on making sure that your ads are profitable and that you have a creative engine. And there's some great tools out there like Creative OS for getting templates so that you can quickly plug your brand assets in and make quick static ads. But you want to get a creative flywheel going so that you can quickly test new things and make sure that your creatives are profitable. Number 12, so we've got all these things going. We're making sales, we're bringing in product. The next thing is you want to establish a strong relationship with your manufacturer. The better the relationship you can get with the manufacturer, the better it's going to be for you. It's also going to allow you to create better customized products if you've got a good relationship with the team that's making them for you. Number 13, this is where you want to start optimizing your website for conversions. You want to maximize your conversion rate of your landing pages. Number 14 is implementing customer feedback loops. I kind of touched on this in one of the earlier ones, but we want to figure out exactly what our customers like and what our customers don't like. We really want to understand who our customer is and exactly what they want, what they like, and more importantly, what they don't like about our product. Number 16, prepare for scaling operations. You want to start delegating out tasks, and the only way to do this is by systemizing everything you do. That means making sure that you've optimized your customer service approach, your scripts for customer service, exactly how everything goes on in terms of returns, your policies. You're going to want to build out systems for your creative that allows you to scale your ads. All of these things are incredibly important to scale. Got 2 bonus ones. I wouldn't probably implement these until after you pass $1 million. But once you hit $1 million, you've got all the above ironed out. You're going to want to start considering expanding your product line. And if you've been doing the customer feedback loop and trying to figure out what the customer likes, doesn't like, and what they want, you should have a pretty good idea of where your product line should go next. And the last thing on the list, the last bonus item, is once you've got all this going and it's ripping and you're scaling and you're spending more and more money and you're continuing to see success, is you want to take advantage of that brand equity by locking in your placements on places like Amazon, TikTok shops, and other third-party marketplaces. Once you crack $1 million, I'd probably just focus on Amazon and TikTok shops and then maybe consider the other ones once you've got those dialed in. But that's the other bonus one for after you crack $1 million. If you like this video, don't forget to check out this video over here where I showcase exactly how to build a landing page in a listicle format that you can use to increase your conversions and drive more sales. I'll show you exactly how Hostage Tape is doing it, and you can do it too. See you in the next video.